Things that I need to go over. Again, welcome to our little talk for July, and we're going to go ahead and get things started with Dr. Tracy Lippert. So let me share your screen, Tracy. But while I do that, go ahead and feel free to introduce yourselves to the folks and tell them a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you all for having me here today. It's always a pleasure to help out with these little talks. I am Tracy Lepard. I'm an internal medicine doctor and a geriatric medicine physician, and I practice at Kaiser Permanente in our Longmont Medical Office building. I have practiced here for 18 years. I also serve as the executive director of complex needs, community health, and government programs. And I am here today to talk to you about the health benefits of being in nature, which I think is a topic that's very near and dear to my heart, as you'll see from my slide deck. If you could go to the next slide, please. So the next slide is a picture of me standing in the redwoods. This is in the Redwood National Park just a couple weeks ago. So my husband and I went to the redwoods for vacation in mid-July, and I have to say it was really nice to leave 103-degree temperatures and end up along the redwood in the coast of Northern California, where it was in the 50s and 60s and just delightful. And being in the forest and being in trees and in nature and just enjoying that experience, I found very relaxing, very rejuvenating. Just kind of restored my energy. And so I think this was just kind of the perfect timing for this topic for me, because I just was able to have the benefit of experiencing nature in a really personal way over the course of a week. Next slide, please. So it's interesting the history of the benefits of being in nature that, for a long time, people have known that being in nature was beneficial. And, humans kind of intuitively understand that. When you think about it, we have spent very little of the total amount of our time. I think there's one slide before this. You might have skipped one, but being living in the modern world is a very small part of our human history. For much of human history, we have spent our time living in nature. So it's really no wonder that we really desire to be in a place where we began and we were naturally supported. And we really do seem to kind of understand that this is relaxing and soothing and awe-inspiring to be in forests and in connection with plants and flowers. And it really does offer us a way of both healing and health prevention for the mind, body, and spirit. So, people who live and interact in a lot of green spaces report being more energetic and better overall health and have more of a sense of meaningful purpose in life than people who really don't have very much exposure to nature. And again, we know that people who spend some time in nature have increased levels of happiness, health, well-being, and it even improves cognition. All the way back 2,500 years ago, Cyrus the Great built lush green gardens in the crowded urban capital of Persia, to increase health and promote the sense of calm in a busy city. And if any of you have ever been to New York City and spent any time in Central Park, it really is kind of a sense of calm in the middle of a very bustling, busy city. Uh, the 16th century Swiss German physician named Paracelsus also declared the art of healing comes from nature, not from the physician. He was an interesting character. He said that doctors must discover the hidden secrets of nature. They must search for old wives, gypsies, sorcerers, wandering people, and learn from them. A doctor must be a traveler. He had some very antiquated ideas, but I think some of these are still very relevant. Next slide. So why nature? Well, it's simple, it's affordable, it's enjoyable, and it really does seem to reduce stress, anxiety, and depression symptoms and enhance joy, relaxation, and overall sense of well-being and balance in life. It has those healing and restorative properties that contribute to our health and well-being. And I'm sure you all have memories of spending a day, whether it was, just a walk in the park or a picnic or a hike, skiing, so many opportunities that we've got here in Colorado to be outside and enjoy, the beautiful environment that we have. Next slide. So this is a photo from, I believe, a year ago when I was hiking up in Rocky Mountain National Park, which is one of my favorite places to go. And, there are times when we go for hikes, we tend to choose the paths that are less traveled. And sometimes we have seen more moose and deer than people on our hikes. And I always really do have that sense of awe and really of gratitude for being able to live in a place that offers these types of benefits. Next slide. So there's this concept that is largely in the Eastern traditions, Japan and China in particular, called forest bathing. And I don't know if any of you have ever heard that phrase before, but I really like it myself. Sometimes I have been known to say I used to call it hiking and now I call it forest bathing. But it's called Shinrin Yoku in Japanese, and it's very traditional meditative practice where you walk in a forest, but you're really doing it in an attentive way. So you're walking at a very comfortable pace. You're taking some stopping points along the path to rest, maybe to do some breathing exercises, and to contemplate the surrounding natural environment. One of the things you're also doing is really trying to use all five senses. And there's something very restorative about doing that. And there have been a number of studies. I was actually really surprised at how many studies there are in the literature, particularly out of both Japan and China, looking at all of the different beneficial effects of being outside in nature and forest bathing in particular. So these are some of the benefits. So in addition to that relaxation piece, it seems to improve immune function. It improves cardiovascular health because you're really, you're using you're getting a little bit of aerobic activity there. It improves respiratory function. It improves your mood. It improves well-being. And again, as I was saying before, and I certainly experienced this myself, it really promotes that sense of awe, feelings of gratitude, and of selflessness. Slide. So it also, I think, is a really nice counterpoint to some of the stress state and techno stress that we all experience. So I spend a lot of my time, just like I am right now, sitting in front of my computer, and it's screen time. And so I think that we need something to counter that. And I think being in nature offers just a really accessible and wonderful way to get away, to step away from the screens. So I would be remiss as a physician if on a day when it's hot and smoky in Longmont, and probably where many of you are as well, we know that there are days when it is not okay to be outside. It would not be a healthy thing. I think, heat stroke is a real problem, dehydration, and of course, air quality issues, especially if anybody has underlying pulmonary conditions like asthma or emphysema or COPD. So there can be benefits even if you have to be inside when the weather and the environmental conditions aren't conducive to being outside. Studies have actually shown that the presence of plants inside the home and the workplace do promote health. And that's a little picture of my window that I look out of from my computer station. So I can look over and see those plants. And research has even shown that nature videos of the forest or ocean can have positive physiologic effects. You know, watching TV is not necessarily something that I promote as a good health behavior. But if you're gonna watch TV, maybe turning the station to PBS and finding a great nature show, it would not be a bad way to spend a little bit of time if you need a little hit of nature in your life. So this is me last summer in the American Lake Trail outside of Aspen. It's a beautiful trail. You go through a bunch of aspen groves and a nice boulder field, and eventually make your way to a beautiful lake. And the flowers were just fantastic. So you can see the happiness that I experience being out in nature, and I hope that that all of you take advantage of Colorado and our beautiful outdoors. And with that, I think I'm going to be passing things over to Lauren and Sarah to talk a little bit about some opportunities you may have.
Hello all. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah,
I
we
guess
can. Thanks, Sarah.
great. So I'm Sarah Lear. I'm a senior supervisor with the City of Fort Collins Recreation Department. And I'm a certified therapeutic recreation specialist. And I have with me Lauren Hennessy, so I'll have her introduce herself.
Hi, can everybody hear me okay as well? So I hope so. My name is Lauren Hennessy. I'm a public engagement specialist at the Natural Areas Department for the City of Fort Collins.
Thanks, Lauren. So Lauren and I are going to um, talk through some city programming and how the city kind of operates as a pillar of well-being. We try to support kind of the six different pillars of well-being. And so throughout this PowerPoint, I'm really hoping that you all will be able to take away a little bit about those six pillars. Um, some benefits of maintaining your personal well-being, identifying kind of which pillar resonates with you, and then two ways that City of Fort Collins programs align with your interest and kind of can promote your personal well-being. So these are kind of the six dimensions of wellness. Wellness is a holistic integration of physical, mental, spiritual well-being, fueling the body, engaging the mind, and nurturing the spirit. And although it's always, includes striving for health, it's more about living life fully, and it's living a lifestyle that's personalized kind of to you. So you don't have to have or choose to participate in kind of all six of these dimensions. And some organizations will actually include two others, financial and vocational wellness. But so you don't have to have all of those in your life, but finding a harmony that kind of is most authentic for you is the end goal. And they find that people who participate or focus on or make this a priority in their life tend to have a reduction in long-term healthcare costs, reduction in stress and anxiety, and an increase in social connections. The last piece, an increase in social connections is, I think, becoming a more and more prevalent topic. The Surgeon General just released a report on social isolation and its health impacts, and found that lacking social connection is as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day and can increase your risk of heart attack, stroke, and self-harm. So Maintaining your personal wellness is really important. And so we're going to talk about each of these areas and kind of what those mean, and then how the city offers programming that can help you fulfill those and build those social connections and contribute to your overall well-being.
Awesome. Thanks for that intro, Sarah. I can get us started with the environmental pillar of well-being. I wasn't super familiar with the 6 pillars of well-being before I was asked to help on this presentation. So I did a little bit of research and I found a couple of quotes that I really like, specifically talking about environmental well-being, referring to living in harmony with the earth by taking action to protect it and understanding your impact on the surroundings. Also thinking about how a person's relationship with their surroundings impacts their greater relationship with the natural world. This is a picture of folks at Kestrel Fields, which is a natural area that I'll talk a little bit about later. The city of Fort Collins has 53 natural areas right now and continues to buy land to preserve as natural spaces and corridors for animals to go through, for native plant species to flourish in, and for people to enjoy recreationally and just to find like peacefulness in their own lives. There's natural areas with all different kinds of landscapes. So Bobcat Ridge, Coyote Ridge, Reservoir Ridge, kind of up in the foothills, that landscape. Natural areas in town include McMurray, Sawyer, Shield Street River access that run along the Poudre, so easily accessible in town to kind of get that fix if you're living kind of right in town of Fort Collins. There's also natural areas like Soapstone Prairie that has a lot of native wildlife restoration practices going on, and that's a big, expansive landscape where you feel like there's nothing out there other than you and like the natural space you're in. You can really hear the wind. You can see pronghorn. There's benches along many accessible paths, so you can really like get your fix of natural spaces. So the city has conserved this land for the well-being of the greater community, connecting parks to each other, the Poudre Trail, the Spring Creek Trail, and corridors for animals and plants, like I mentioned before, as well as people to move through the city on bikes or walking or in different modes of transportation that maybe fit better to their needs, as well as creating pleasant environments that can support people's well-being visually if they're able to see natural spaces on their drive to work, if they're able to take a walk in a natural area on their lunch break, something like that, just promoting that just safe sense of community in natural areas. So Kestrel Fields is a really interesting one because it's a combination, kind of a partner project with a few different entities in town with Poudre Valley Community Farms, City Fort Collins Natural Areas, and Native Hill Farms. So volunteers and staff seen in this picture did a native willow planting on this natural area to promote like native insects and native animals to come to native plant species. And there's also an active farm on this natural area that is sometimes grazed by folks who have animals who need to graze, and that can help their animals as well as a natural area because grazing can be really important for soil. And then also the farm produces different foods that grow really well in this climate that are sold at Lucky's Market, at farmers markets throughout Fort Collins, and at a local farm stand that's right on Taft. So I thought Kestrel Fields was a really good example of environmental well-being just because it combines a lot of different entities and people are kind of getting the most out of their land. And it's also, there's a trail around it so you can walk around and see the well-being of the farm as well. Kind of helps Fort Collins feel like home, that you're getting that sense of community. So we can go to the next slide now. This is a picture of Gateway Natural Area, which I thought really like screamed spiritual well-being to me just because it looks really peaceful. You can like smell the air in this picture. I just really like this one. And spiritual well-being, I kind of got the sense that it meant a purpose, bringing a sense of purpose and meaning to life that can include one's morals and ethics. Thinking about that through nature, what is like bigger than us, than like Mother Earth. So humans need purpose and connection to something greater than themselves, something like nature that they can, that just feels a little bit bigger than maybe your everyday life. It's a diverse and often individualistic aspect of health. So I think it can mean a lot of different things to somebody. And I kind of took this to mean like lifelong learning and connecting to passions that were like individualistic to you. So kind of speaking to some programs that the Natural Areas Department has that can benefit spiritual well-being. We have programs in partnership with the library, exploring the great outdoors, birding programs with the rec department. We do Zumba and yoga programs at different natural areas as well to get people kind of up and moving. And if they're interested in something like that, connecting to a natural space, we do campfire programs, youth programs, and then also natural areas just promote walking, biking, running, and just different lifestyle aspects, which could really benefit spiritual well-being if people are able to take up hobbies while they're outside. That's kind of like a double hit. There's also a really great sense of community in natural areas through volunteerism, which I think can be a really important part of spiritual well-being if you feel like you're able to give back. So we have hundreds of volunteers just in our department and thousands of volunteers citywide that do a lot of different things. They help teach our Boys and Girls Club kids. They help teach school field trip kids during the school year. We have volunteers who specialize in eagle watches and help monitor our raptor and bald eagle population over at Foster Creek Reservoir. You can also volunteer to be an editor for some of our newsletters, be a trailhead tabler, sit at a table at a natural area and talk to the community, share knowledge and passion about natural areas. We have ranger assistants who help patrol natural areas and keep people safe, remind people to have their dogs on leash and protect other people using these spaces. And then various volunteers who help lead over 100 year-round educational programs, which we can talk a little bit about later as well. But I think volunteerism can be a really great way to connect with spiritual well-being, if that's something you're interested in. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Lauren. I appreciate it. So natural areas and recreation are both a part of community services, which also includes Lincoln Center, gardens, museum, parks, and a few other departments within that. And so Lauren did a great job on highlighting a lot of opportunities within natural areas to experience the environment and to work on improving your spiritual well-being. A lot of those programs will also overlap into those other pillars of well-being that we're going to talk on. So, physical well-being, social well-being. We'll go through all of those and I'll add in some recreation opportunities that can promote those as well. So the first one I'm going to touch on is that social piece. And this is kind of developing a sense of connection, belonging, and a well-developed support system. It's a good way to maintain your social well-being is to create those meaningful relationships with like-minded peers and to have that sense of purpose in your life. If you individuals with a strong social well-being have seen improved physical health, mental health, and increased life expectancy. And some things that people can do to kind of improve their social well-being, like I mentioned, is to maintain those positive relationships, engage in social activities, like a lot of the programs that Lauren mentioned in natural areas. And then I'm going to share some cool opportunities we have within the recreation department. One of my favorites is called our Boots program. So we actually partner with Natural Areas for this program, and it's an outdoor focused program. Boots stands for Building on Outdoor Trail and Stewardship, and it's a social club. And this club meets for 8 weeks in a row, and 6 of those weeks are focused on hiking and exploring local trails. So we utilize a lot of the natural areas, but then we also will visit Laurie State Park or Horsetooth open space as well. And then the other 2 weeks include stewardship opportunities, so where we try to give back to the trails that we're utilizing, and then an educational piece as well. So we've done things like tree identification, birding, Natural Areas has had a lot of volunteers that will come and present to our group. But that's a really great program. It generally starts out on easier trails and then increases in difficulty, so that community members have a chance to build that stamina up. And then it's a larger group of people. So about 30 individuals participate. And every week we'll generally have like I would say 10 to 15 people who come in and hike with us or participate in that forest bathing, like Dr. Lippard mentioned. And so it's a really great program. Boots. We also have a lot of retirement age programming. Our newest recreator came out, which I'll show in a later slide. And our retirement age programming focuses on 60 years and older. And we have some free programming for individuals who do have an active past with us that focuses on that social piece. So we offer times for cards and games. We have a sing-along jam session where people can bring instruments or sing and show up and just kind of jam together as a group. And so it's all individuals who love music and just want to get together and jam. Writers group is similar but focused on writing. And then we have some other specialized senior programming, like learning how to play bridge or things like that. Physical well-being. So this is maintaining physical activity, food, sleep management, as well as working to prevent injury, illness, and managing chronic health conditions. So for physical well-being, people will tend to focus on their fitness, diet, their sleep hygiene, and then their health, like I mentioned. People who do this tend to see a reduction in stress, illness, and we'll see increased immunity, increased lifespan, improved mood, improved energy, improved brain health. And there's so many activities you can do to improve physical well-being. I just mentioned boots. Lauren has touched a lot on utilizing natural areas and spaces. Just getting outside and walking every day, participating in wellness programming. The city offers a lot of wellness education that will focus on things like culinary herbs and spices to support healthy aging, memory maintenance, fitness at home, classes like that provide education on how to improve that wellness. We also offer a lot of fitness classes. Let me pull to flipping through my book here for specific classes. Zumba, yoga, meditation. We have a men loosen up class. Tai Chi is a really popular class. And we've got a variety of other Zumba Gold. We have aqua fitness classes. One of the ones that I really like to promote is through our adaptive program. So it's an adaptive fitness class that specializes in supporting individuals with multiple sclerosis who are in stroke recovery or have a neuromuscular disease. And our staff does or delivers exercise modifications and assistance that focus on maintaining physical well-being, endurance, strength, and flexibility. In addition to that program, we have a lot of aquatic fitness programs for a variety of levels. So if you're new to fitness and you want to try something low impact, I would try one of our twinges or basic H2O aqua fitness classes, and then you can kind of increase in complexity or challenge from there. The next pillar to touch on is emotional wellness. And so this is the ability to successfully handle personal emotions, understand them, and then how they impact life. I think this really aligns with that social piece and focuses strongly on mental health. People who have a strong emotional wellness tend to have a lot of positive social relationships and see a reduction in stress, illness, with an increased immunity and increased productivity, which I thought was interesting. Mindfulness is a really great activity to help improve your emotional wellness, and sleep and maintaining your sleep is really important as well. A lot of the programs I touched on for the social programming are also relevant for this emotional piece. It's just building and maintaining those relationships and being able to have those challenging conversations. All right, the last pillar I wanted to touch on is intellectual. So this is expanding knowledge or skills through creative or intellectual means or new experiences. So this is enhancing or individuals who participate in intellectual wellness opportunities enhance brain function and learning capabilities. They see enhanced organizational skills and then improved mood. Travel is strongly encouraged as an option to improve your intellectual wellness. Reviewing positive content, so things that bring you joy or happiness, and then trying new activities. The city offers a lot of really great programming that aligns with this. So I mentioned, the museum, the gardens, Lincoln Center, as well as natural areas and all of the programs they offer. Recreation offers a lot of creative arts. The Pottery Studio is celebrating its 50th year of programming this year, which is really exciting. So you can take pottery classes. We have wood shop, stained glass, painting. And then we also offer education classes in general. One of my favorite programs is Front Range Forum. They're a group, I would say, similar to OLLI through CSU, where they focus on lifelong learning. And their group will host they'll host educational classes. So they'll do 6 to 8 classes 3 times a year. And those classes are generally about 8 weeks long. Members of that group will volunteer their time to teach those classes, which is a really cool piece. And then they also offer lunch and learns, some smaller groups like book clubs and photography groups, and movies and lunch and learn. So they're a really amazing group that focuses on that intellectual wellness piece and lifelong learning. So this is actually the Summers Recreator. We just came out, I would say, like 2 days ago with the newest Recreator. It covers programming for fall and winter of 2024. So that would be September through January. And you can see those are kind of all the program areas included on there. So we have adult programming and also youth and family programming. Tanya said she's going to share resources out after this, and the link to the online Recreator is going to be available, but you can also stop into any recreation facility and find that. And then Lauren, do you want to touch about this piece?
Yeah, definitely. So this is a screenshot taken from a website called Engage, which will also be a link sent out at the end of this program. So this is kind of how you sign up for programs with natural areas. And I was just going to talk about a few different programs that we're seeing here coming up in August. So yeah, you'll make a free account on a website called Engage, and then you'll have access to this screen. We do programs year round. In the winter, definitely less because it's a little bit harder or less fun to get outside in the winter, but we do some winter walks and some winter hikes, and then our Eagle Watch program as well, where we work with the community to track how many eagles are nesting at Foster Creek. Last year, I think there was almost 20. Some years there's been almost 40 before. So it's really neat to see, and our volunteers have big scopes and they're really knowledgeable, so you can learn a lot as well. But in August, we have some programs coming up like Journaling the Nature Experience on the 8th. So we'll have art supplies, so we'll be able to provide. It's taking place, I believe, at Riverbend Pond, so just like a little bit on the northeast-ish side of town. On the 13th, we have a hike with a planner at Arapahoe Bend. We're finishing a trail connection right there that'll connect the entire Poudre Trail under I-25, which will expand it out towards Loveland and Greeley, which a lot of people in the biking community are really excited about. So you can learn more about Arapahoe Bend and kind of the bigger goals for that natural area. We have a sky gazing program on the 16th where we work with the Northern Colorado Astronomical Society, and they bring their big telescopes out, and we're able to look really close up at stars. This past summer, I saw the rings of Saturn, which I'd never seen before, and I was able to see those on a sky gazing program. So just see really neat stuff and learn a lot. We have nature photography with a smartphone coming up on the 24th, so our volunteers will be able to help people better their photography skills just with supplies that they maybe have already. And then you'll see a couple yoga programs scattered throughout the month as well. At different times, we have sunset yoga, we have yoga at 9 a.m., and then a 7 p.m. sunset yoga again. So different kinds of things for whatever somebody might be interested in. And this is just 1 month. Other months look really different with programs of different topics as well.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Tanya, and thank you, Dr. Lippard, for including us. We really enjoyed being able to promote city programming to you all, and I think our contact information will also be shared as well. So if you have any direct questions for either Lauren or I, just reach out and we'll help support you in any way that we can.
Thank you, Sarah. That is great. I will, as Sarah mentioned, we'll be sending out some of those links, and Lauren mentioned getting those links out to you. I do know much of this was certainly very Fort Collins in Northern Colorado, but do know, and I will include those, the Metro Denver area has much of these same types of programs and recreation centers and the senior centers. They, as much as they don't mimic each other, there's a lot of similarities in what senior centers and the recreation centers do throughout Colorado. Sarah, I would bet right that there's a lot of interaction anyway between the different senior centers and recreation centers.
Yes, definitely.
And then Lauren, I was going to ask that you're engaged. That is also just for Northern Colorado. Is there something like that as well that you know of in the Metro Denver, other than just links to the senior centers and recreation centers?
That is a great question. I actually grew up in Highlands Ranch, so kind of near in Metro
Yeah.
Denver. And I definitely as a kid, I like went to library programs, and programs that are in like Douglas County open spaces, especially maybe more towards Castle Rock. I can definitely poke around for some resources and include those in the links that I can share out, but
That
I'm
would
not
be,
sure
yeah, that
how
would be great if you could. And I will do the same, folks, and I'll certainly get those out, but I'd greatly appreciate that.
Yeah, there's definitely green space. There's all kinds of trails that have different corridors that connect them too. And like Chatfield State Park is right down there, Cherry
Yeah.
Creek State Park. So a lot of really good spots to check out.
Thank you. Does anyone, oh, I did notice that Dr. Lippert did mention what Sarah was going through. She did say Tai Chi is a great way to improve balance and reduce risk falling. So take advantage of Tai Chi if you get a chance.
I couldn't resist. As a geriatrician, I needed to just put a plug in for Tai Chi. I mean, all exercise is really helpful from a balance and better balance and fall reduction standpoint. But Tai Chi is probably the very best, best studied and has the best evidence. So if you have access to a Tai Chi program, I would check it out because it's got those benefits as well.
Thank you. Great.
I
I
just
don't see,
mentioned,
oh,
sorry,
I'm
really
sorry.
quickly, Dr. Lippert, I loved your mention of like forest therapy and forest bathing. And Natural Areas also has forest therapy programs that some of our volunteers teach and really helps like connect all the senses to nature in like a really calming way. So one of those programs is on, the next one coming up is on October 2nd. I was just going to plug that as well.
Great. Any other things from the three of you? I'm not seeing any hands raised or any other chat. Super. Well, again, thank you. I always appreciate your time, your focus on this and getting all this information out to our folks at A Little Help. Again, this is being recorded. I will get this out as well with all of their links and contact information if needed. So I do again appreciate all of that and appreciate the three of you joining me today. And we will see you again. Let's see, we're doing our next little talk. And what are we in now? We're in August, September, and that will be on Alzheimer's and dementia. So I do hope you'll join us for that little talk as well. Thanks again, everyone. Take care. Have a wonderful afternoon and stay safe with the warmth and the smoke out there. Make sure you guys take care of yourself. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.